grown woman who hit a 2-month-old child as hard as she could. Like if I walked up on stage and punched you as hard as I could, that's what she did to your baby.
Yes.
Tell me why you're here.
I'm here to get answers from my ex-girlfriend because I don't feel that I didn't get any explanation from her in the beginning. I haven't had time to confront her. I did not confront her and ask her why she did what she did. Things haven't been easy since it's been about 2 years now. My kids are with my father right now, and I know that it's hard on him too.
What happened that you guys weren't together anymore?
We just kept arguing, and then we ended it.
You ended it.
A couple months
now,
before.
she's raising your 2 sons. Are you going over there helping?
She did not just raise him or both of them by herself. She did go back to work after my son was born. I would go over there. I'd get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, go over to her apartment at 7, so she could be off to work by 8. I do everything for the kids while she's at work.
So she was going to work, you were there,
right,
and
yes.
You're watching the kids.
Yes. Okay. And when she gets home, all she has to do is make the kids dinner, get them, ready for bed. She was, really lazy. She'd come home from work. The house would, she would make a mess. She'd go over to her friend's house all night. She wouldn't,
She'd go over to her friend's house all night.
Yeah, right across.
And you were
the hall.
there watching the kids.
Correct.
How did you find out that she hit your son with such force?
Well, I didn't find out right off the bat. My son he got hit, and then 2 days later he went to the doctors. The doctor asked what's wrong with his face, and my mom and Cassie's father had no clue what he was talking about. And they said, this is not a scratch, because that's what Cassie spoke up and said. And she had to get pulled out of work for this. I did not find out for 11 and a half hours that night. I got a call, and I dropped down to my knees after my mom told me that my son was beaten by Cassie and that he was in the hospital. So then I hung up the phone, and I ran up to the hospital, and they would not allow me in. And I would ask why, and they couldn't give me any reasonings. At the hospital, they charged her with a misdemeanor.
They charged Cassie?
Right. He had subdural hematoma, bleeding in the brain, bleeding in the eyes, bruises all on both sides of his cheek and around his eyelids. And they charged her pretty much with a...
And how old is your son at this point?
He was almost 2 months.
2 months old?
Yes.
Now...
Now, if I would have done that, I would have went to prison.
Probably.
Well, no doubt about it.
And rightfully so. The baby suffered a hemorrhage around his eye, induced hematoma, contusion and swelling on the cheeks, bleeding in his eyes, bruises around the eyelids.
Yeah.
And those injuries were caused by one slap?
That's what she said.
Okay. What else did Cassie tell you?
She told me that she hit him in the face as hard as she could as an adult with her fist. She also said that...
She punched him?
Yes. She also said that she had a cell phone in her hand at the time. He was restrained in his bouncy seat, and I guess that he rolled over on the bouncy seat on top of his head, and he got kicked up against the wall.
She kicked him against the wall?
And he also had shaken baby syndrome. So one slap could not do all of that damages or anything, and my son was laying in the hospital for 2 weeks. It took 6 months for it to diminish.
Is your son okay now?
Yes, and...
All right, let's bring out your ex, Cassie.
I didn't do just this. You did not help me at all. It was me doing it by myself while you were out there doing what you want. And to lie about saying I threw a cell phone, it's bad enough. I know what I did to my son. I know I slapped him. I did not have a cell phone in my hand. I never told you that I did. I never told you that I kicked my son. Yes, it's bad enough that I slapped him, but to lie about the other things that I did not do those things, so stop lying.
Did you seek help when you were feeling depressed? Did you reach out to anybody?
No.
Why not?
I felt like it was
You were saying you needed help from him to take care of your kids.
I asked him
but
for
now
help.
You start feeling a medical condition like depression, and you didn't seek help?
I felt like I should do it on my own. It was my responsibility, and I
what
thought
on
I
your
could
own?
handle it. Take care of my kids by myself, because that's the only thing that they had. I thought that I could do it. I thought I was strong enough, but obviously I wasn't. I broke down. I thought I didn't want anybody to know that I was that
So by
far
your
gone.
own course of action, your action led you to hit your own
It
child.
did, and it was. But there were, like I said, there were factors that led up to my depression, and that's the only thing that I'm saying against him. I know what I did was wrong.
You know what? There's been times in my life I've been depressed, and I suffered depression or whatever you want to call it, and you feel bad and down. And I have 2 children. I'm like, you know, I make mistakes like everybody else. But one thing I don't do is wrap up my fist and
That
cock
I
my
didn't
own
do, though.
children.
It was no punch.
Did you immediately realize you did something wrong?
Yeah.
You did? And what did you do?
Picked my son up and held him and cried.
You picked him up and you held him and cried.
And I rocked him to sleep.
And you rocked him to sleep. Did he seem hurt to you?
He didn't act like he was hurt. He cried a little bit, but then he was...
He cried a little bit. He cried a little bit. You didn't think like, oh my God, I just cracked the hell out of my son?
I did.
Did you think like... Did you think, man, I better go get him checked out right now because I just hit him as hard as I could? He's a 2-month-old baby. I probably should take him to the hospital.
Yeah, I did, and I was scared.
Were you jealous at all when he had this new girlfriend and you're raising the 2 kids?
I didn't even know he had a new girlfriend. All I knew was that he was taking, when I was going to work, he was taking the car seats with him to somewhere. I didn't know where. He didn't tell me where. I didn't find out that he had a girlfriend until after the incident happened.
So the girlfriend didn't cause you to hit your baby?
That is a lie.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Just like you
That's
throwing
what
a
we
cell
thought
phone at-
about
it's
it.
me saying
That's
that-
what we
no, it
thought
wasn't.
about. That's what we thought
John
about
I
is-
thought
in that
about you
apartment.
taking my kids somewhere that I didn't know.
They're
I
my
didn't know that
kids.
you.
I'm the
at work.
father.
You should at least tell me that you're taking them somewhere while I'm at work, so I'm not worried about them while I'm there.
Are you serious?
But now it's kind of crazy that you would say that because he could say, I'm scared when my kids are ever left alone with you.
Yeah. Is there more opportunity here?
Your dad's here. Let's find out what he has to say. Let's bring him out.
Yeah.
How you doing, John?
How you doing?
Thanks for being here. You're a father. It's got to be gutsy for you to come out here with this situation. This is your daughter. You know she's done some very terrible things. What happened when you took the children to the doctors?
The day in question, Cassie was to go to work. Kids was brought over to the house. We noticed the mark on my grandson's eye. Asked her, what happened? To look at the mark, a few hours after it happened, there was no big,
Right.
it hadn't had time to swell up,
Right.
get black and blue yet. There was a simple red mark there. And it was, I'm no doctor, but looking at it, I thought it's possible. Baby's nails are sharp. He could have scratched his eye. Doctor looks at me and says, what happened to this child? I tell him what she told me. He looks at me and says, I'm sorry, from one slap, a slap?
Oh, did she tell you that she slapped the child?
She lied to me right off the bat at first. She was scared because she didn't want me looking down upon her. As soon as the doctor told me that my story, from what I was told, is not consistent with these marks, that doctor looked at me like I was the one that did this to this child. I looked at him and I said, what? You gotta tell me straight up. What's going on here? I mean, come on, explain to me, what is wrong here? And he said, well, I'm sorry. He goes, but honestly, he goes, one slap, there's no possible way. I'm looking at the blood that's inside the eye, and I'm telling you as a doctor, one single slap, just a simple slap, not possible, not with these marks. He says, I want you to take this little boy over to the hospital. I says, okay. Now, as a father, I'm really teed off. She's never, not once, and I'm not gonna stick up for her just because I'm her father. She's never exhibited any signs whatsoever of any aggression like this, Steve. This is a good, fairly good girl. Typical teenager. Not into the big drug scene, not into the alcohol scene. She always had help. So did he. I was only a phone call away. I lived 3-4 blocks away from these 2 kids. I just know that everything did happen the way it happened. And when I went Instead of going right to the hospital, I went to her work. I yoked her out of work. And I looked at her and I said, I want to tell you straight out. What'd you do to your son? I slapped him, Daddy, last night. I go, don't you lie to me. So help me God, don't you lie to me. What'd you do to this little boy? She broke down crying, Steve, and she said, I slapped him last night, Daddy. I go, all right, let's go. We're going to the hospital right now. And on our way there, there's gonna be police and everything there. You're gonna do what you gotta do as a woman to stand up. You need help. For you to do such a thing, Cassie, oh my God, I don't know what to say to you. I really don't know what to say to you right now. When we go to that hospital, I ain't saying a damn word. You're gonna speak up and you're gonna be the one to say what you did. And she did. She did.
You got a father here. You got the father of your children here. He wants answers. Everybody's here because they want to know the truth. And we're about to find out. Cassie, you took a lie detector test and you were asked, did you slap your son more than one time? You answered no. Did you throw a cell phone at your son? You answered no. Did you deliberately kick your son? You answered no. Have you ever abused your son other than the incident on November 21st, 2009? You answered no. And the results for your lie detector test is that you did not tell the truth.
See, I told you!
Gosh, I never
told you!
I can't do this. I didn't do that.
Are you really going to tell me that that lie detector test is wrong?
I don't.
Tell me it's wrong.
I can't tell you that it's wrong because obviously it's right there.
Okay. Okay. So,
I can't say that it's
so
wrong.
there is some truthfulness in this lie detector test, right? I'm not going to ask you to go into detail, but you basically lied on that lie detector test, right?
I guess, yeah.
Okay.
No,
yes,
it's not, I guess.
You say yes.
This is a test that 99.99%
So why don't you say to your
correct.
dad, you know what, Dad? I did lie.
Yes, I lied.
Okay, you lied.
Cassie.
About what? I want to hear you tell me. What did you lie about? I warned you. If you brought me here in front of America and you made a fool out of me, because that is not going to take a lie. Did you slap this child more than once the night this happened?
I didn't
Cassie,
slap
tell
him
me
more than
yes
one
or no.
time, and I don't even remember
Cassie,
telling
your
you
son
this.
is going to grow up
I don't
wanting
even
to know.
remember
All
telling him what.
Stop. I want you to answer me one
Obviously
question
you do.
for me then. I don't want to know about anything else. I want to know one thing. That night that this happened, look at me. I'm not going to degrade you. I'm not going to abandon you. I'm not going to walk away from you. I give you my word on this as your father. But listen to me, little girl. If mentally you got a problem inside your head, you better get it fixed, because those are defenseless little babies.
If about it.
Whether you slap that child one time or 100 times, okay? The fact remains, you looked at me back at home and you said to me, Daddy, I know I can pass this. I know I got nothing to hide. But you know what? Something's got to be done about this, and something's got to be done about you mentally, okay?
You admit that you lied on the lie detector test, right? Yes. You're never going to do those things again? I mean, in all honesty, you know, it would be like I'd get so mad and say, you know what, Cassie, if I could, I'd take your kids away from you forever and never give them back to you. But that serves no purpose. Your kids, like you said, they have a mother. You're the mother, right? Do you love your children? Now,
Show it.
you can leave the stage, and it's all up to you what you're going to do with your life and how you're going to be as a mother. Whatever you need to do to accomplish on getting your kids back, taking whatever classes, whatever medical visits you need to go see a doctor, talk about depression or everything, because I know, I'm not going to joke around that. Postpartum, all that, dangerous, dangerous stuff. And if you need help with that, and if you have it, then you need to get help. But the one thing we're not going to do on the stage is make excuses and why I didn't do this and why I didn't get help or I couldn't get my kids back. No. The only thing you're going to be able to say is, I didn't take your help, Steve, and I failed. That's the only thing that you're going to be able to say, because we are going to give you everything that you need to help yourself to get better and help you try to do the things to make you a responsible parent. Okay?
Thank you, Steve.
Good luck to you. We're here